Hi, my name is Simone and I'm the Zen Mommy. I help people with awakening and ascension, as well as guiding them through the healing of the mind, body, and soul. Today, I'd like to first thank all my subscribers for being with me so far. And if you're new here today, please press the subscribe button and the bell notification and you'll be notified for my next video. Today, I want to talk about my ayahuasca experience, but the part that I want to talk about is the breakthrough or crossover or going over to another dimension during that experience. I heard the term breakthrough for people who do DMT. So like DMT it's a different form of ayahuasca. It's the actual, just the ingredient. They call it the spirit molecule. We actually make DMT in our brains naturally. So this plant has more of the DMT within it. And so when you take this DMT, it actually gives you more of what you already have. So ayahuasca takes you through a lot of experiences and journeys. It's different for everyone. But when you take DMT, it's a more concentrated, it's more concentrated, and people have the experience of going like directly over to another dimension. Now, but if you ingest the solution, so I guess if you ingest the solution in the form of a drink, it gives you another kind of experience. You still can cross over and go to another dimension, but there's two plants involved usually, and the first plant has its own little idea on its experience that it's going to have with you, and it's pretty much a journey. So you, on the journey with ayahuasca, it'll take you through a journey where you learn things, you learn about yourself, you learn about consciousness, you learn about the universe, you work through issues, traumas, you have healings, and then sometimes there's this breakthrough that they call it in the DMT world, where you go straight over to the other side. You just wake up, you're just somewhere else in another dimension, right? So that's what I want to talk about, is my experience when I went. So, okay. Where do I start? Okay, so I've done ayahuasca about 9 times, and I'm going to be doing it tomorrow, and that's going to make 10. Well, out of those times, I've had a breakthrough twice where I went completely like over. And the first time I took it, like, this was the experience I was taking this from. I would hear these stories. I was like, I want to know the secrets of the universe. I want to leave here. I want to go to another dimension. I want to know what it's like. So let's see. All right, it had a little pop-up. I don't know what that means. I hope it doesn't cut off. And so I took it the first time, and they say the experience lasts about 4 hours, and I didn't get across to the other side. I saw a lot of visions. I learned a lot of stuff. Then I did it a second time, and I upped the dosage, hoping I would go over. Then the plant was actually upset with me. She told me I couldn't rush my experience, that I was going on this journey. Then by the time I got to the 4th time, I let go of all resistance, and I remember I did it in the daytime, and I just remember setting my intentions, and my intention was, I just want to believe. And that's what I put my intention with the plant. So you do a ceremony. See, these plants are conscious beings. So they know you, they hear you, they talk to you. From the moment you open the plant, it knows, like, its consciousness is beyond our level of consciousness. It knew all along this day was going to come that you were going to take it. And that's the one thing you become vividly aware of. And so you got to treat it with respect. You have to honor this plant. You have to thank this plant. And you have to set intentions about your experience. And so this day I set one intention. I said, I just want to believe. Being in the spiritual communities after my spiritual awakening, like it resonated with me. That was so much more. I read it, I believed it, but I wanted to believe for myself. I didn't doubt anyone else's experience, but I wanted to see it for myself. And so I took it this 4th time, right? And I said, I want to just believe, and that's it. So once the experience started, I was getting visions. And so there's this whole part, the beginning part of the plant where it takes you through. You see a lot of visions, you see patterns. And these patterns and visions are actually like, they show you equations, it's teaching you lessons, it's talking to you telepathically. And it's answering the questions. It's like all of a sudden when this plant kicks in, you're now in the room with your subconscious mind. It's like your subconscious mind right here, your ego's right here. All of those are like separated out, and y'all can like have a conversation, and it's crazy. Your higher self, the ayahuasca plant energy, it's all there, and they're all like dealing with you, right? So then the ego. So you have to go. So I did a video about the ego death. Okay. So the ego death is when you get to a point where you can't really cross over because the ego doesn't believe in it. The ego has a limited perception on life, and it doesn't really believe that that this experience starts, it makes you doubt. Like the first thing you do when the plant starts to kick in, your ego starts saying, you shouldn't be doing this. This is bad. Every time I've taken it almost 10 times. And every time in the beginning I say, oh my God, I'm never taking plant. What was I thinking? But by the end of the thing, I'm like, I'm definitely taking it again. So, okay. So this fourth time I was stuck in these visions, like, and I say stuck because I was like in this pattern sequence and I was still like physically here present. And I was like, I guess it's not going to happen this time, right? So I got up from the visions, because so you're consciously alert and aware. You can go to the bathroom in between visions. So it calls you into the vision. So you know when you just got to just like sit down and chill out. But you can get up and go to the bathroom, and you can talk. You can cook food. I mean, just stuff you can do, right? So I got up at this point, and I was just like, okay, well, maybe it's not going to happen today. And so I got up and I was in my bedroom. I was looking right at this thing right here. And I started to look at it, and I began to change the colors of this with my mind. Like it just began to get really rich and vibrant. And I was just like, how is this happening? And it changed. And I'm going to tell you right now, this wasn't this rich and vibrant before that experience. It stayed that way. And so, okay. So I was looking at it, was getting rich and vibrant, and I was just kind of chilling back. And I was laying there, and then I began to I guess I started to float off into somewhat like of a vision. And ayahuasca is telling me, okay, you want to go out of body? You want to go? You want to cross over? This is what you have to do. She said, look up. So I looked up. She said, find your soul. So I saw souls just floating around, a lot of them. And I'm looking, okay, I'm going to find my soul. I'm going to cross over. And so I'm looking and looking. I'm like, I just got to find it. And then she said, you see, right there. She said, that's you right there. I looked at it, and immediately I felt my energetic presence here. That's why the chakra is the center of energy. This is you. Okay, I felt me on there. I was like, the first thing I did is like, oh my God, that's me. That was the first thing I said there. I said, it's me. The moment I said that, pop, I shot out of this physical body. I left the earth plane, and I was gone. And at that moment, that's when I realized death is an illusion. Like this is what the experience is. You go out of body. We're a soul having a human experience. And so once I was up on this other dimension, I was filled with bliss and joy and happiness, unconditional love. And at that point, you know how I believe in the whole creator God thing. I always, based on my programming and conditioning from religious, it was like a mortal sin to say anybody was God but Jesus, or call yourself God. And that moment when I crossed over, I realized I was God. I realized that all of us was God. I realized that I remembered, my memory came fully back. I remembered exactly who I was. I remembered me before this life. I remembered how I created this whole life, how I put all of these signs. You know how we have these messages, these signs, the numbers 1111, different people coming into our lives, having different experiences. This is something we created from this higher perspective of ourselves. And I truly believe I've merged with that person, with my higher self, or whom I found to be, is the creator of all things. And so I began to flip from just different dimensions. I was after being here for so long, wondering about who I was, being tossed to and fro by all these belief systems. For the first time, I was relieved. I was happy. I was filled with laughter. I laughed for hours. I was like, oh my God, it's been me all along. I kept saying it over. I laughed. And every time I thought about my suffering and my pain, I just started laughing. I was like, I can't believe I fell for this. I can't believe I really forgot who I was. It was so amazing. I was like, it felt like heaven. I remember there was a point where I was just like, am I dead? I gotta be dead. I was like, I'm dead. And I consciously knew that I didn't have to come back here. I knew who I was. And at first I was like, I'm staying. No. But then I thought, now that I have this conscious knowledge, my life will be better there. And I realized that, part of this experience is to get the experience. I wanted to experience human connection and family and friends and everything. And I was floating around, and there was a point where I was laughing, and I was the laughter. I felt like the whole weight of the laughter, floating, flying. I was creating. And I can't even explain to you what the surrounding was like. It was really lots of light. And for my surroundings, and I know people see different things, I saw a lot of pinks, a lot of yellows, a lot of light. And I was so happy. I was so complete. I was so whole. I could never be lonely. And I knew that every person here on this planet with us, I knew that it was all me, manifested in human form, have different experiences. I knew that this whole creation was about a soul having a human experiences. See, God is so great. There's nothing limited about him. Him or her, us, okay? As God, we can come here and we can split up our soul into different individuals to have different experiences. And we could put enough amnesia that we don't know that we're one, that we can have a human connection experience. And it's just like my analogy with water. Okay, I always say God is like the ocean. We're like the waves. If you take a couple of cups of water out of the ocean, it's still water, isn't it? It's not, it's just taken away from water, but it's still the same thing. So you have to think about it. This God's why I say we're gods, okay? This God, this creator is like the ocean of water, who has decided to pour itself in millions of cups to have individual experiences. It was so real. It was so amazing. I'm telling you, I jumped and laughed for 8 hours. I mean, I literally was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. And I just was like, it's been me all along. I couldn't believe it. And so I remember calling my friends on Skype, some spiritual friends of mine, and I was talking to them, and I felt so weird. I'm looking at them like, oh my God, you guys are all me. Like, I started thinking about all of the war and all of the crime and hatred we have. I'm like, oh my God. The funny part is we're all fighting the same person. We're fighting each other. We're one. It's such an amazing experience. It's like, from what I hear, what I went to is the higher realms, and where all of the consciousness is all one, where they call source. There's no doubt in my mind that I'm source. Okay. There's no doubt in my mind that we all are source. And from that experience, no one can tell me. Like, I was tossed to and fro by every religious belief system, by Christianity, and I really thought that I had to live a miserable life and be under control of a certain type of book. And let me tell you, there's freedom in who we are. We're supposed to be having a great experience here. We're supposed to be enjoying life. And we're supposed to be not getting all attached to this, to what we call a negative emotion. But every part of this experience, there's nothing wrong with it. Because when you go out, it's like a bleep. We have created so many. We have other experiences. I'm sure you have dreams. I'm sure you have. Sometimes the dream is not a dream. Sometimes it's another experience in another reality. And just the other night, this week, a couple of days ago, I had a dream. I went to sleep and I literally woke up somewhere else. And I was like, oh my God, I realized that this life was the dream. And now, I mean, that was my experience, and I truly believe that. But I wanted to talk about that because I never went into depth in that experience when I went out of body like that. It was freaking amazing. And I didn't get to go, and I went that one time, and once I was there, I was like, I knew how to get there. I knew I could come there anytime. And even when I meditated a few times, I could go, but for some reason, I can't stay a long time yet because I haven't reached that level of consciousness and understanding. But I'm trying to tell you that it's amazing, and like it changed my whole life. And I didn't want to forget that. I really wanted to share the details of my first like breakthrough to another dimension. And I remember flipping from dimension to dimension. And then when I got here and I was on Skype talking to my friends, I consciously was back in my body, right? But I was also consciously there. Like I was a dual person at the same time. That's how much my consciousness had expanded. I could completely be experiencing both lives. I could be here talking to you and my friends, and I was there too. And it's so amazing. And I just really, I'm sorry, I keep having to pop up on my window, and I keep thinking my video's going to get cut off. But it was amazing, and I really wanted to share that. And I'm taking ayahuasca tomorrow, and I'm kind of hoping I'm going to have that experience again. That's like a coveted experience. But, sometimes ayahuasca has to take you on a journey and teach you lessons. And it's amazing. It's a sacred, amazing plant. And if you ever feel the call for it, it's for you, because it calls you. She came to me in a vision, and by that weekend, I had the plant, and my life's been amazing ever since. It's been amazing before, but like to know on a conscious level who we truly are. Now, when you come back in here to this reality, you start to get back into life. You start to get back into the ego, and sometimes you start forgetting some of this experience, and sometimes you have to remind yourself. And so I wanted to make this video. I wanted to remind myself, and I really wanted to share that my first breakthrough experience on ayahuasca. Thank you for watching. Peace and love. Namaste.